Morning. I was coaching yesterday night, and there were some few tips for like social socialing, humaning. What do you call it? Social skills, social awareness, situational awareness, mental triggers, thought processes, feedback mechanisms that were useful to the people I was coaching, and it might be useful to you too. Um, so basically, I have one point to make, and that is you know that really argumentative guy who always rejects criticism, doesn't listen, and is always self-defensive and uptight whenever you try to give advice? Okay, maybe 2 points. The reason One reason, this is my main point. The reason why he's being self-defensive and explaining his viewpoint is because he wants to know your way of thinking. He says, "Here is my way of thinking. Now tell me how to correct it." That is often going to be his or her thought process, because when you come in with criticism, and this is my second point, if you come in with criticism saying, "You need to do this, you can't do this, stop doing that, don't do that," that's like an aggressive grammar. It's aggressive. It can be interpreted aggressively, right? That can create drama. You're showing your stress, or maybe it's just your choice of words. If you don't want him, if you don't want to escalate into drama, you can say, "I suggest doing this," or "I think that yada yada." Um, Yada yada. And then that can help. But this is what people don't understand. And I think I got complimented for pointing this out, which is the main point, that people have a train of thought, and in their train of thought, they have mental triggers. You're doing something, you're doing something, you're doing something. Oh, a bag of chips. Mental trigger. I should eat it, right? And if you're like, "Don't eat the bag of chips," instead you could say, or let's say it was your bag of chips, and he eats your bag of chips without asking. You could say, "Don't eat my chips," and he might say, "I was hungry," right? So when he's saying, "I was hungry," is he arguing, or is he asking you to correct his train of thought? Say, like, the bag of chips, you could correct him and say, "If the bag of chips does not belong to you, then it is disrespectful to take someone else's stuff without asking. Therefore, you should ask before taking my chips." And he'd be like, "Oh, yes, I see your logic. Therefore, the next time I am hungry and seeing a bag of chips, I will ask before taking it if it is not mine." Right? That is that is like the feedback mechanism that you can use. Or if you don't want him to get defensive at all, you can just say, actually, that would be condescending. I was going to be like, "I suggest not eating my bag of chips behind my back." But, like, that would be, if it's, like, really obvious, it can come out passive aggressive. Yeah, if you point out something, like, really obvious, sometimes it can come off self-aggressive. But, like, so in that case, instead of saying, like, "I think you shouldn't eat my chips," which might be passive aggressive, or interpreted that way, you could lilt to the end of your sentence, like, "Can you not eat my bag of chips? You know, can you end your sentences like this? I don't want you to eat my chips." Lilting your voice to the tone upwards in pitch when you're ending your sentence. That that is mm, like a submissive tone, and so you're not going to cause drama when you end your sentences like this. And so obviously, if you're raising your voice, and then it's like more aggressive. But if you keep a if you keep a low volume and lift your voice at the end of your sentences, then it's like submissive. You're not gonna escalate into like a heated argument, okay? So that's tone of voice, The grammar, I think I suggest rather than don't, stop doing. You can't like there's there's so that's the syntax, the tone of voice. Those go into social skills, and then there's the thought process. Someone's arguing with you. He's not listening to whatever you're saying. He's explaining. He's only explaining his. He's only justifying his viewpoint. He's only trying to justify his viewpoint. That's what you see. What he sees might be, I'm explaining myself so that he or she can correct my mental triggers, my thought process. So when he's justifying himself, he's leaving himself open to correction from you. If he's like, I was hungry, you can go in and say, in that scenario, the bag of chips did not belong to you, and it is disrespectful to take someone's stuff without asking. Therefore, you should have asked before taking my bag of chips. Like, that's the sound argument that you can deliver, and then because he knows in general, if I'm hungry, it's good to eat chips. But if you deliver your argument, then he's like, in this situation, I agree with your train of thought, and so I will use that mental trigger of, okay, I'll check, is it mine before eating it? Like that is that's the mental trigger. His the first mental trigger is I see, I eat. Next is it mine? Then I ask. It's simple, but people don't think about that. People just think he's not listening, he's arguing, he's justifying himself. What a chick! And then drama ensues. So that's today's lesson on how to be human.